Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you today. We are working through some of our old pinball machines that we've had for quite a while. And we have moved on up to this really cool 70s Williams pat hand machine. We've had one of these before, but we didn't actually repair it in a video. We just played it. This was a pretty common machine. Let me see if I can see it. Oh, there's a date right there. It's a 1975 pat hand. These were pretty common. You see these pop up a lot. So they must have sold a ton of them. And as I remember, it was actually pretty fun. So we have a bunch of these set up in our showroom here that are broke that we're working on next. And we had an older gentleman come in, and he really liked this one, so he wants us to fix it, so we are working on it now. It's got this strange card and Japanese theme going on at the same time. And it has a very strange layout on the playfield. You never see anything laid out like this. Disregard the game back there that's killing people. You never see anything really laid out like that. But we picked this up a while back. I don't even remember where we got it. We've had it for probably a year. But it is time to work on it. So by the mid-70s, if this is 75, by the mid-70s they had kind of figured out these EMs, people. They knew how to build them. It's in decent shape. Cabinet has a little bit of wear, but very presentable the way it is. We probably won't be doing much to the cabinet. We will probably paint the frame around the back glass, and that'll be about it. The rest of it we'll just clean up a little bit. We're not the world's greatest at the cosmetics. So I will be more concerned with getting it working right. So yeah, the back glass is something else. It has this, I don't know if that's a geisha or what. It's a Japanese figure with these strange hands and just proportions and stuff, but I like it. It's cool. Great look. And it has this, it has a card theme too. At the same time. So they mixed Japanese and cards at the same time. And just little things like, why did they decide to put like little grapes on the side? And the little flare above each score. Just interesting design choices. And this looks very Japanese, I guess. Just the way it's kind of made. And just things like the little dotted lines, which kind of, for some reason, make me think of cards. I don't know. And then there are all these cards coming from back here. So spades and hearts, spades and hearts, spades and hearts. They go behind the girl. Spades and hearts, spades and hearts, spades and hearts. No diamonds and no clubs, just the spades and the hearts. So I don't see any diamonds anywhere. And her gown is all spades and hearts. So no diamonds and no clubs. I wonder what's that all about. So the spades are black, the hearts are red. I don't know. Interesting design choice. But you almost have the club thing, you know, with that, but that's not a... And look, the little flowers are spades and hearts flowers. I like it. I think it's cool as hell. That's just my personal opinion. And then, in the middle of the playfield, you have this character here That's like a Joker character. And there's your club. And on the sides, it's just spades and hearts, too. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so there's no diamonds or clubs on anything. So that's the whole thing. So the cards are spades and hearts as well. And you get the 4 jokers over here. We'll get all into that whenever we play it and everything. But yeah, look, all the art down here is spades and hearts as well. All right, so the clubs and the hearts got dropped off. The only ones, oh, you know what? The ones in her hands don't have clubs or diamonds either. I'm getting to the bottom of it, people. Okay, yeah, so there's no clubs or diamonds on anything, on any of the art, anywhere on the playfield, or on the back glass, or on the cabinet. Okay, well, that makes sense. All right, so that's what they're working with. So this particular one, like I said, the back glass, it's got a little wear, people. So I don't know what we'll be doing about that. I got a new way I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to be minimalist. I used to repaint them all with brush, you know, but then I never liked that whenever they lit up, you could see all the brush strokes. So I'm trying to, I may paint it white on the back. Just spray it and see if it makes it look all right. I don't know. We haven't figured all that out yet, how we're going to do this one, but we'll see. And then the playfield has a couple of issues. It looks pretty good at first glance, but there's some pretty heavy wear around these pop bumpers, and they put Mylar on them. And I have proven in the past I cannot remove Mylar. If I try to take that Mylar off, I'll just make it the biggest mess you've ever seen. So I don't know that that's going to get repainted. I mean, I've tried freezing it off. I've tried taking it off with a heat gun. The problem is when the playfield is this old, and so people say all the time, oh, you can take it off? Hell, I took it off my Addams Family. Yeah, I had an Addams Family with Mylar, and I took it right off with the heat gun. And then other people say, well, I took it off with freeze spray. It worked great. That's different than these. These are tore all to hell. I mean, it's all worn. If I try to take that off, it's going to peel all that freaking paint off. I've tried it about 10 times. I can't do it. Now, there may be people out there that can do it. I am not one of those people. So I'll think about options, but I don't think we can touch up that paint, which sucks. Now, this paint up here, we can definitely touch up because it doesn't have Mylar over it. But we'll get into that. Okay, so let's see what it looks like behind the back box. So here is our back box from behind. Very clean, actually, you know. Very well laid out, not too crowded. It's got a mud dauber's nest down there still that we need to get rid of. But yeah, so you got 4 reels on each score, or on each player, so 16 reels. You've got the, what are they called, their particular one? All the companies have a different name for the credit unit. So it's either the credit unit or the replay unit. Usually there's a little stick-up, but it's missing off that one. This one is the player unit. So this likely keeps track of the number of balls. And you might ask yourself, how do you not know this stuff? Well, how do I not know this stuff after I've worked on so many? Because it's kind of irrelevant. You just clean all of them. I mean, I got to clean all of them anyway, so it doesn't even really matter what they do. If you run into problems, you can track it down with the schematics. And then we have the one up here, which may be like the 0 to 9 unit. See how it only has one coil? So all I can do is that. It can't go backwards. Right? So usually when they have that, it's like a randomized thing. They're using it for the match feature and maybe to move some things on the playfield and stuff like that. Because it doesn't reset at the beginning of each game. I guess it could. It could have like a home position, but usually whenever they'll only go one way, they don't reset. They just keep moving. They like to move it, move it. All right, and I got a few relays down here, a little board with 5 relays on it. So that's going to be first reset, second reset, and it's going to be, well, maybe just one reset. And it's going to be One 10-point relay, 100-point relay, 1,000-point relay. And it's probably 2 reset relays, 10-point, 100-point, and 1,000-point relay. Because there's probably nothing that scores 10,000 points, even though you can get to it. It probably just happens if you roll over the 1,000 one. And then this first one, like in a lot of games, is just a dummy reel. There's no actual... See how the 9 is only halfway there? There is no actual 1-point scores anywhere on the game. So that will always end in 0. 0! Okay, so I'm going to pop the glass off, and we will look inside of it. Let me darken it up, and I'll show you how that works, by the way. Somebody was asking about that. To whoever was asking about that, I'm going to show you. So if you open the door on your pinball machine, pretty much any make will have a little lever somewhere. It'll either be over here or up here. You open the lever, and that makes it where this lockdown bar will come off. Once you take that off, place it on your showcase, if you have one. You're now to the glass, and you can slide the glass out. If you've never done that, the glass may be glued in with beer. So let me pull out the glass, and we'll open it up and see what it looks like inside the cabinet. Okay, folks, so again, like I said, this is 1975, so by then they kind of had these things figured out. And they were all pretty well laid out, and there may be a lot of stuff in them, but it all makes sense, and they've kind of figured out ways to get the wiring down a little bit where it doesn't even need as much stuff. But so everything looks really clean and cool in there. Of course, there's plenty of stuff to work on. There's a couple, I see a couple things taped back there. I'll figure out what that is. Those plugs just laying in there are because the head was off of it, so all that stuff's not plugged in like it should be. Whenever you transport it, of course you can take the head off. So somebody did and unplugged all of the plugs going to the head, the Jones plugs. Everything still looks labeled. Should be easy to work on. And then the bottom of the playfield, also very clean considering its age. Everything looks great, like Tony the Tiger would say. There's a bunch of relays though, so let's see what they say. Ooh, 100-point relay, 10-point relay. So I was wrong about that. Those weren't in the back. Something to ace relay, advance relay. Da-da-da-da-da. Bonus relay. And when we have this huge relay bank here, it's so big that they've split it in half actually, and there are 2 reset coils, one to do each half of the thing. So these say, are you ready? Number 1 Joker relay, number 2 Joker relay, number 3 Joker relay, followed by the number 4 Joker relay. The setup relay, the double bonus relay, the special relay, the ace relay, the king relay, the queen relay, the jack relay, and the 10 relay. Now, are you excited yet? Doesn't that seem like it's going to be fun? These card themes are always pretty cool. Especially if you can figure out a way to gamble on them. Yeah, everything's cool. The ball count unit down there, and then the other one will be the, I think it's the credit. Well, it's the 1 to 4 unit. It has something to do with not getting more than 4 credits or something like that. What do they call that? It said player unit in the back. That one's the, I don't remember what they call it. But that's the one that only lets you start a 4-player game instead of a 5-player game. We also have a little stepper unit here that they call the bonus unit. So there's plenty of stuff to work on, isn't there? Don't it look great? Of course, this is the score motor. Don't it look fantastic? Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning, like we always do, which will be in the bottom of the cabinet here. So I'm going to pop this playfield out. Looks like it might well weigh 100 pounds. I'm going to pop it out, and then we can get down there in the cabinet and see everything. And we'll see if we run into anything weird. So I pulled everything out of the bottom that I could find. There wasn't really all that much significant. There was a couple of, well, I lied to you. There's that. What the hell does that go to? I was about to say there was nothing in the bottom, but there was that. That must be the coin door lockout setup. Anyway, we got all the extra stuff that was floating around on the bottom out of it. And those wires that I was talking about that were taped, I'm pretty sure that's factory actually. See how there's a couple screw holes there? Well, in some of these, you see that's where all the coin stuff is. So we've got the 10-cent relay, the 25-cent relay, the coin setup relay. We've got an extra ball relay hid over here. We've got the, I guess that's the game over relay. The out-hole relay and the ball index relay. I believe, and I may have this wrong, but I believe that they usually, this era, have it like that at the end. They've basically tied off some wires so that they can add another relay there if they need to, which is probably used for different currency stuff. I would imagine, like if you need 3 coins for a credit or something weird like that, something. So I believe that's factory. I may be wrong, but we'll find out if it doesn't work, right? So what the first thing, whenever we get these, this thing is from 1975, so it very well could have been that it's never been cleaned since 1975. So we sell them here in our store, and there's a couple ways to do it. You can plug it in and play it and then fix whatever's broke. We don't like doing them that way because something else will break. They kind of need some maintenance done to them because they've been sitting for so long. Now, once we do this, we don't really do it again, but we're giving it the 45-year look over. You know what I mean? It's been around a long time. So what we do is we go through and we clean all of the switches. Not just some of the switches, all of the switches. And we clean the Jones plugs, which are the things that connect the head to the base and the playfield to the cabinet. Clean those all up. And people always ask us for specifics, and they want to see video of us doing this. You can do it a million different ways. You're just trying to clean those pins where they're pretty shiny, where they go into the little connector. So you can use a brush. Usually if it's got a bunch of grime on there like that, we actually use sandpaper on them. Very mild sandpaper. Don't get anything crazy that's going to eat it all up. You just want to get the corrosion off. So we'll leave that up to you because we don't want to argue with people about the best way and the worst way to do it. So people also ask us what we use to clean the switches. What we use is a file that is pretty much worn out. So it's just basically like a piece of metal with just a little bit of roughness to it, because we're basically just trying to remove just the dirt off the contact. You don't want to file the contact down to where you start taking metal off of the contact, because then it'll you're basically reducing the life of the contact. The way I always had old school operators tell me to do it, but this was back before, they had to go through and do all of them, was to use a little piece of a business card, just slide it between the two contacts, and you're basically just trying to get the dirt off of the contact. But I mean, we're doing the entire machine, so we kind of need something that we can use in our hand. But I'm going to show you on this relay, which is the reset relay. There's only like 3 types of switches. So I'm going to show you, they're all on this one. I've done this on a whole bunch of videos, but I'll do it on this one because it's so easy to get to and it's so easy to illustrate. So here's how you fix them. Basically, we're going to clean all of the switches, and then we're going to adjust the ones that look like they're out of adjustment. Now, if you push the thing and it looks like it's just a little bit out of adjustment, leave it alone, because it's probably worked itself that way and it likes to work like that. There's a little bit of a timing to these, so if the switch closes too early or closes too late, depending on the circuit, sometimes that can mess things up. So if you've got one that's just barely touching, but it is touching, you see it moving the switch a little bit, leave it. Just don't try to get them all perfect. If you go through and adjust all the switches, you're going to screw something up. So I'll give you a couple examples here. So this is the reset relay. I'm just using this one because it's got all three types of switches on the same relay, so you can see if I can do it without dropping you on the relay. Okay, so the way these things work is at some point the reset relay is told to turn on, and this coil has electricity run through it, which pulls this metal. It creates a magnet. It pulls this metal bar in. So attached to this bar is this actuator here, and then the switches all have a long blade that is stuck in the plastic actuator. Okay. So right now it is at its resting position. So this is the position that all of the switches are shown on the schematics. So this particular set of switches here, there's just two, right? There's two contacts. If you look real close, if it'll focus, the one all the way to the right, bam! Let's say that all three of those to the right, those three sets, all of them are open at resting position. Now watch what happens when the relay pulls in. All three of them are closed. That's the whole trick to the whole thing. It's as easy as that. They should just change state. So if they're open right now, when it pulls in, they should close. Now if you find one that's closed and it pulls in and it's still closed, something's wrong. It's not supposed to do that. If it's open, it should close. If it's closed, it should open, right? So all three of those are open. Now here's what we're going to look for. Look at the one on the right. I don't know if it'll get any closer. Deal with it, people. All right, the one on the right. Now the long blade is the one that's going to move. So how do you know if it's close enough? Watch when it closes. You want to see the short blade move just slightly. Okay, see how the short blade is moving just slightly? What that's doing is it's rubbing the two faces of the contacts together just a little bit, and they're cleaning each other. So they call that self-cleaning action. So let's look at the middle one. It's moving. See, and the left one, it's moving. So all three of those are adjusted properly. Now I need to clean them still, but they are adjusted properly. So next to it there, we have one that's closed right now. So when it pulls in, it should open. And then when it goes back, it should move the small blade, and it does. Okay. Now look at these two sets on the left. Right now, when it's in its resting position, they are making, they call it make and break switches. They are making this side. And then when it pulls in, it breaks and then makes the other switch. So it's one or the other. So look at the left set of three. See how both of the small ones move? They're both adjusted right. So look at the second set of three. See how they both move? So they're both adjusted right. Now you might be tempted to bend this one a little bit to make it more like this one. See how close that one is? Don't do it. Just leave it alone. They're adjusted. They're all touching, making, and breaking. Leave it alone. So let me show you one here that is a little suspect. This is the lock relay. See how it's all burnt up looking? That's not a bad coil. It just means that's always on, and so it's gotten hot, so it's burnt up the wrapper a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad coil. You can put a new one on if you want, but if it's still working, why mess with it? Okay, so look at this one. It only has one switch. Okay? And so whenever the game is off, when there's no power to this lock relay, those two are touching. Now watch what happens when it pulls in. So what do you think? That small one is not moving. That switch needs adjusted. It may be contacting it. I mean, it may be just touching it barely, and we can't even perceive it. But that's probably not enough for electricity to pass through. So that one probably needs adjusted. So how do you adjust it? Just bend it a little bit. What do you think now? Now it's adjusted. Simple as that. So that's what you do. Now, like I said, you don't want to adjust all of them. You don't want to, everyone that looks a little different, you don't want to mess with. Just leave them alone unless it's obvious like that one. All right? So I'm going to go through and clean them. And if I run into anything weird, I will show you what I found. So just for completion's sake, I'm going to show you what that lock relay does. Now these are the schematics. They're online. You can go download them for a Williams Pat hand. They're free. So these are lines off the transformer. You have one set down here off screen, and then you have one line over here, right? So the lock relay, which is that one we were just looking at, always has power on both sides. So as you can see, it's just connected. Anytime the transformer is on, the lock relay is on. That's why it's so hot. Okay, so what does it do? It only has one purpose. I'm going to show it to you. When you turn the game on, the lock relay is off. Right? So you turn on the game and the lock relay is off because there was no power going to it. Well, since it's off, that switch is connected. So power runs down this line and it runs through the closed switch, which was not ever closed, right? You saw it was never closed. It was always open. The power runs down this line as soon as the transformer comes on, and it runs through the closed switch on the lock relay because it hasn't, the relay hasn't had enough time. Remember I said there was a little bit of timing involved? It hasn't had enough time to pull that switch open yet. And it runs through that switch, and it runs over here, and what does it do? What does it do? It pulls the game over relay trip on. Okay? And then that switch immediately opens up because the lock relay pulls in, because all it's doing is getting power too, right? So the only purpose of that relay is it has one switch on it, so that when the game is first turned on, the power hits the game over relay. Now why would it do that? It's so if you unplug the game and then plug it back in, it won't be in the middle of a game. The game will be over. That's the whole purpose of the whole thing. So if you lose power for any reason, it's game over. Wah, wah, wah. Now let's see if there's another way to stop the lock relay from being energized. If we go down this line, there's no switch on that. It's always connected to the transformer. And then over here, the yellow line, all the way up to here. Yep, always connected to the transformer. So the transformer will always have power once it has power. And then on this side, the toggle switch is all that can kill the power to it once it is turned on. Here's the outlet. This is connected directly to the transformer. This side goes through a fuse and the toggle switch and is connected directly to the transformer. So, the whole purpose of that switch is when you turn the game on, the switch is closed because there's no power to it, and it lets power run through that switch real quick and hit the game over relay. Brilliant design! So if you ever get one and it comes up in the middle of a game, whenever you turn it back on, if you finish in the middle of a game, then check out that relay if it's on a Williams. Now, that's about the most useless relay in the whole game, though, you know, because one, you would have to unplug it or turn it off while you were in the middle of a game for it to even be an issue. If you got to the end of the game over relay would trip, and then if you turned it off and back on, the game over relay would still be tripped. The only purpose of it is if you were to perchance unplug the game while you were playing it, or in the middle of a game turn the game off. Whenever you turned it back on, without that relay, it would start up right where you were, and they didn't want to do that. So they put that relay in there at great cost. It probably cost a couple bucks back then. They didn't have to do that, but they designed it in because that's how they wanted it. I'm going to show you something that I see a lot too in these whenever I'm working on them. Now you got to imagine the playfield is in the game, right? So the playfield sits on these rails. So that's where the bottom of the playfield is. But then there's junk hanging down under it too, right? So the rails are right there. But then all this stuff hangs under it, down into the cabinet. So people will be storing something inside the cabinet. And if you look, the score motor is right there. So you take something like a pad of paper. Yeah, that's right. I need to ask him how he pronounces his last name. This is our buddies down the road that have a printing company. They bring me these pads. I use them to write my notes on, okay, for our UK fans. So you're storing your paperwork in there, and if you push it back just far enough, you can actually hit the switches. Now, they don't mean to do it. They didn't do it on purpose. But look what these people have done. The one that sticks out the farthest is this row here. And look, they've bent that all to crap, so the top one is all bent up. That should be all the way down like that. So it's all bent, and when the score motor turns, you will see, so see there is a, we're looking at this one. See, there is a cam with a ramp and then the valley there, right? That's what I'm going to call it. So see, now it's up on the ramp, and it's pushing up on the switches so that it opens some of them. So it's trying to open that top one. So it should be like that, where it would be opened. And then as it spins around, when it gets to the other valley, on this particular one, there's two home positions. So there's a second one here. So watch what happens. It falls down in, which makes certain switches open. But what should have happened was that this one fell down and closed. But it's all bent up. So I'm going to bend that back and get it right. And let's figure out which one that is. Let's see what that does, right? So it is a yellow and blue wire that connects to something. And it's on that first cam in from, they call these the impulse cams. So again, on the schematics, they've got a nice little diagram where they show you what all the switches on the score motor do. And see, they draw the little cams. So the two on the end were the impulse forward cam and the impulse cam. So see, this one says forward, and it's got two spots in it. 5 has 2 spots in it. 4 has 2 spots in it. 3 has 2 spots in it. 2 has 2 spots in it. And 1, whoa. One has 2 spots in it. So see how they're all at different little angles? That's so they can get the timing right, because they need certain things to happen before other things. It's just the computer of the machine. Now look at the impulse cam. See how it has 5 little bumps on it? That's so if you score, like, let's say you need to score 50 points on something. Well, it starts turning with one of these cams. I don't know which one it would be, but one of the cams that's lined up, right? It starts turning, and that switch keeps it turning all the way around. So every time it turns, it'll turn one whole half revolution, because there's only 2 spots for it to stop at. And so when it does that, the impulse cam has the switches lined up in such a way that it has to run over a bump 5 times. So instead of just pushing in the 10-point relay, it'll go, if they wire it through the impulse cam, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and give you 50 points. So it's just little things that they designed into the game so that they had other options. But anyway, here is our one that we were just looking at. And here is the switch that was all bent up. So it's a yellow and blue wire, remember? So that switch right there was all bent up, so it never closed. So what does it do when it closes? It pulses the out-hole relay, which is what kicks the ball out into the out-hole. So in other words, with that bent, you would never be able to play the game, because it would never kick the ball out into the shooting lane. So the game was completely crippled because that one switch was bent. So did we just fix the game? No, we found one problem with the game. It's probably got 10 different things like that, which is why you need to go through every switch, right? So I'll keep cleaning, see if we run into anything else. Okay, folks, so we cleaned, I checked the fuses to make sure they were all the right value. we got our switch back how it's supposed to be. Now, sometimes you have to take the thing off, so I took these screws out to take it all the way apart so that I could bend it back normal. So it's open now, and then it's closed. You probably can't tell because it's darker, but you get it. I rebuilt the 2 stepper units. I didn't film that because I'm going to show that whenever we do the back box. But those are 2 real simple ones, so it wasn't all that big of a deal. I also cleaned all the Jones plugs. Look how pretty. So whenever you're done with that, I still need to get rid of that mud dauber nest there. But we'll do that when we work on the back box. But, just for giggles, we're going to see if I can get this to do anything. Yeah. Let me see what we got. Plug them up. Well, a lot harder to do with one hand. So you might wonder, why are there only 3 plugs when there's a 4th plug? Well, that one goes to the playfield. So I haven't done anything in the back box, haven't touched a thing, but we did all the stuff down at the bottom. Now I don't even know if this will work because we don't have the playfield plugged in, but let's see if we can get even some lights or anything on. Alright, so let's try turning it on, see if we get any signs of life. 1 light bulb on the coin door, and boy, they got a lot of flash bulbs in the back. Those must be 455. 455s will flash on their own because, you know, there's no computer or anything to make it flash. They're just they heat up, and then once they're done, they go off. I'm going to suspect those are 455 LED bulbs because they're real fast. If they make 455 LED bulbs. So there we go. All right. Oh, let's look at the game over thing too that we were looking at. So the lock relay pulls on when the game is on. Okay. So let's say we're in the middle of a game. So when I turn it on, the lock relay, which is shut right now, should pull that game over relay on. Bam! Working as it should. Game over. So see if that's tripped. Oh, it won't even let me right now, but that is what ends the game. Alright, so very cool. Alright, so we got a little bit going. I didn't do any of that light work. I just cleaned the connections to it, so that's why those are on. So we will do that on the next video. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. And have you checked out my brother Donnie? So my brother Donnie is my real brother. And he has his own channel. The link is down below. You can go check that out at any time or subscribe. We do all kinds of crazy stuff over there that doesn't have much to do with arcade games or pinball machines. But right now we are working on a 1986 GMC Sierra pickup truck that we rebuilt. We had the motor rebuilt and then it didn't work right, so we're trying to get that doing its thing. So go check us out on my brother Donnie. You can even Google him if you want. He's worldwide. And we also have our links to Amazon down below. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, click our link before you do it. The way that works is just by clicking the link, because we sent you to Amazon. Amazon gives us a little royalty for sending you there. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. A lot more people have been doing it than used to, so it's really picking up. We appreciate that, folks. Those have to be LED ones. They're blinking too fast. Should we test my theory? Those are LED flash bulbs in a EM pinball machine. We're going to leave them though. I'm not going to. I might take some of them out just because it's doing a little bit too much. But nope, they're not. I was wrong. Oh, wait a minute. No, those aren't LEDs. I'm looking at the filament. Damn, I've never had them that flash that quick. So they're not 455s. There must be something else. All right. So I'll check that out on the next video. But hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. The next video I will be filming here in just a few minutes of me working in the back box. See you on that one.